What to do with Kenyan Drake and Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Top 5 running back. You're watching the Fantasy Football Show.
Kenyan Drake, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, two players that people have been like, this is a nightmare, playing horrible. I know we've had a couple players with buys like Dalvin Cook, but right now, Clyde Edwards-Helaire is number 2 in the NFL in rushing with 505 rushing yards. I don't care if he had a big week 6. That's part of it. Okay, if you're going to complain about him, oh, he's only in the top 2 rushing because of week 6, you can't then pick and choose what games you want to talk about that he played badly. Same thing with Drake. Drake is number 4 in the NFL in rushing yard. He's also tied for 5th in touchdowns with 4. I know we all want to freak out when players are up and down or down the whole entire first half of the year. It happens. You need to know when to recognize when somebody's going to pop, when they're going to retain their value. Mixon was flatlined all the way through the beginning part of the year, pop back up, and you had to decide, do I sell now? Do I sell high? Or is he here to stay? Then Mixon fell down again, rose up again. He's going to be like that in a Cincinnati offense on a Bengals team. But you got to ask yourself, will Clyde be able to maintain his value with the presence of Lev Bell when Lev Bell arrives on Wednesday? Will Lev Bell even be prepared enough to get a ton of carries in week 7? We don't know. And Drake, you can complain all you want about how Drake looked in weeks 1 through 5, but in week 6 he was a terror. You can talk about how bad the Cowboys defense was and this and that and blame his success in week 6 on that. You can do whatever you want. And I'm not saying don't sell high if the price is right. I'll Smitty approve any sell high opportunity if it gets you a better team.
You have just been Smitty approved.
Let me repeat that. I will Smitty approve any trade. I don't care if it's Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I don't care if you're trading away Mahomes, who I rarely trade away, especially in Dynasty. I will sign off on any deal that improves your team, my team, whoever's making the trade. Because it's all about maximizing value. It's all about holding when you need to hold, selling high, buying low. And Drake right now depends what you can get. A lot of people benched Drake this week. It was do or die. I admit, I understand why maybe somebody did bench him heading into this week if they had a remotely good option. But you knew it was do or die. And now if you drafted Drake and you sat through weeks 1 through 5, which weren't that bad. He scored touchdowns. But if you sat there during his weeks 1 through 5, where he scored just the 2 touchdowns, had some mediocre games, and then you sat him, now you hate him even more because he still hasn't done anything for you. And that you can't blame on Drake. Now, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, I don't think anybody in their right mind that knows anything about football benched him heading into week 6. But a lot of people are ready to cut ties, calling him a 4th and 5th rounder if drafting today. Calling him not even a top 2 or 3 rookie if you're drafting in a rookie-only draft today. A bunch of nonsense and garbage. Clyde Edwards-Helaire tore it up in week 6. Looked amazing. Looked electric. Had a touchdown again called back for those of you that continue to say, well, he doesn't score touchdowns.
He's not a touchdown guy.
You aren't watching the games. He literally had a touchdown. And I know this happens to a lot of players, but it's frustrating. He had a touchdown taken off the board last week with Travis Kelce and that PI that had nothing to do with the play. And then he had a touchdown in week 6 called back because of holding. And maybe that would have affected the touchdown or not. I don't know. Clyde's got so much wiggle, it probably wouldn't have affected that touchdown. But Clyde had it ripped off the board again. And I understand that's part of it. The bottom line is Clyde can coexist with Lev Bell. They love him. They love what he's doing. Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Let's do a little mathematics right now. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is on pace for 113 total yards per game. He's on pace for 1,800 total yards if you extrapolate that out. 1,800 total yards. And if you include his 4 receptions tonight, divide his total by 6, even though he caught 0 passes in week 1. You divide that by 6, multiply that by 16, extrapolate that out, you get 56 receptions on the year. Are you okay with that? I'm okay with that. If you watch the game, you were drawn into this dude's talent. You know how electric he is. Now, we don't know how Lev Bell will impact his receptions, goal line work, touchdown production. He should have 4 or 5 touchdowns by now. I believe that. I don't care if anybody else doesn't believe that. I believe that Clyde has been cheated out of 3, 4, 5 touchdowns on the year. I don't feel he doesn't have a nose for the end zone. I have eyeballs. I watch college football. I know what he did in college at the college level against the best talent in college football. The dude has elite ability. He's a between the tackles runner. I don't care what anybody tells me. He can be a goal line force. He is a stocky, built dude that knows how to grind it out between the tackles, and he gets better as the game goes on. If you didn't watch LSU, you don't know that. You don't know that they handed the ball to him more in the fourth quarter when the game was on the line. This is the guy they turn to. Andy Reid loves him. And it's a good football move to go get Lev Bell. What if Clyde went down? I mean, Lev Bell's dirt cheap. They knew he wanted a championship. I would have done the same thing as a coach. No question about it. I know fantasy owners don't want to hear that, but being logical and objective about it, I would have got Lev Bell if I was Andy Reid too. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is still running back 1. And if tonight didn't convince you, then I'm actually happy about that, because if the majority of people out there, if groupthink says that this guy isn't a running back 1, that means I can still go buy in the leagues where I didn't get to draft Clyde. And for dynasty owners out there, make sure you go poking around and try and buy low on Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Now, back on Drake real quick. Again, come to me in the comments, on IG. Go to sleeperu.com and purchase my one-on-one advice feature, or go to heysmitty.com and order a phone call, and let's talk about this right now. But Kenyan Drake, I think if you can sell him at the right price, sure. Why not get rid of a little of the risk that's still kind of lingering around with that Arizona offense? Will they use him a ton? Is Edmonds still going to be involved? But bottom line is, if you're not selling high, you should ride this wave out. Drake is number 4 in the league in rushing yards. Clyde is number 2, and people are freaking out. I love it. I feel like I'm in Bizarro world right now. That second Drake touchdown was like a week-long old deuce that hadn't come out. And oh my God, like watching him score was phenomenal. Go get Christian McCaffrey. You never know when that owner's like, I can't take another L. Go poke around. Go get Kareem Hunt on the cheap. Go get Jonathan Taylor, James Robinson. A lot of underperforming players in week 6 might have knee-jerky reactions. Go test it out. Let's get to week 7.
Top 5 running back. You're watching the Fantasy Football Show.
Smitty.